Are you going up? In Philippians chapter 3, the Apostle Paul describes his upward journey as he took hold of that for which Christ took hold of him. As followers of Jesus, we are called to become like Christ, so that he is revealed through us on earth as he is in heaven. Now, using the analogy of a building with 7 floors, where the 7th floor represents who Christ is, I want to show you 6 floors on the way up that can hinder us from going up and reaching our goal. Let's take a look. In Revelation chapter 19, the Apostle John is shown the 7th floor, and he receives a revelation of Christ as the one who is faithful and true. So if we want to become like our Master, we need to understand how Jesus was faithful and true on earth, and what can stop us from being faithful and true, so that we can be consistently faithful and true on our upward journey. In the parable of the talents in Matthew 25, we catch a glimpse of what it means to be faithful and true. Jesus commends the servant who faithfully served his master and was faithful with the little that was entrusted to him until the end when his master returned. Just as Jesus was faithful to the Father by serving him and being faithful to the people and the work the Father had entrusted him with until the very end, so we are called to do the same. The problem, however, is that there are things that can hinder us from getting to the 7th floor. The first floor is dependence on man rather than on God. If our faithfulness to God is dependent on how people respond to us, we will get stuck on this floor. People will disappoint you, not notice your hard work, take offense, and hurt you, but that cannot stop you from being faithful to God. The second floor is unforgiveness. You cannot be faithful and true if you carry unforgiveness in your heart. Forgive others as Christ has forgiven you. The third floor is anger. Paul writes, "In your anger, do not sin." Anger in and of itself is not a sin, but it is what we do out of anger that can be sinful. Anger can cause us to give up on people and even give up on God. Don't allow anger to stop you from going up. The fourth floor is doubt. Will we stop being faithful when God doesn't seem to answer our prayers or does not do what we expect him to do? We are called to live by faith. Don't allow doubt to hinder your upward journey. The fifth floor is distraction. We cannot be faithful to God if we allow the things of this world to distract us from our wholehearted devotion to God. Are there things that are replacing your time with God, his people, and his purposes? Don't get distracted. Keep going up. The sixth floor is lack of discipline. Discipline is consistently choosing to do what is good for you. But just as a few extra calories here and there will eventually cause you to put on weight, so lack of discipline can hinder you from reaching your goal. If we want to keep going up and reach the seventh floor to become like Jesus, I believe it is essential to fix our eyes on him and to worship him as the one who is faithful and true. Secondly, it is important that we learn to forget what is behind and press on to what is ahead. Don't get stuck with disappointment, unforgiveness, and your own mistakes. Repent and move on. Get back into the elevator. Thirdly, learn to serve God and to live your life before the audience of one. Don't let people stop you from being faithful and true. Fourthly, be disciplined with the small things. Faithfulness begins with the small things. If you can be entrusted with little, God will entrust you with much. And finally, press on until the end to win the prize, and to hear God say, "Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with a few things, I will put you in charge of many things. Come and share your master's happiness." The wonderful truth is that as we seek to keep going up, God is faithful, even when we sometimes get out of the elevator on the wrong floor. He is able to keep us blameless to the end and to bring to completion what He has already begun in us. I encourage you to read and reflect on Revelation chapter 19, verses 11 to 13, to receive revelation of Christ as the one who is faithful and true. Then I encourage you to study the parable of the talents in Matthew 25, verses 14 to 30, to understand how Jesus wants you to be faithful till He comes again. Paul's example of one who kept going up to win the prize can be found in Philippians chapter 3, verses 7 to 16. I really encourage you to keep going up and not to stop on any of the 6 floors we have talked about. Be faithful and true like Jesus until He comes again, so that He can say to you, "Well done, good and faithful servant." God bless you.
Siebtes Obergeschoss.